So I just got home from doing the talk and I did it. I can't believe I went up there and I actually spoke and I didn't fall flat on my face, but I did it, which is amazing.
I can't believe I did it. I smashed it, spoke in front of a large audience, talked openly and honestly and authentically like who I am. What a feeling. I'm so proud.
If I'm honest, right afterwards and still, I felt really quite flat about it. I expected to either be buzzing or to be really upset, but I didn't expect in the middle. I think maybe my hopes changed, and I think what I wanted was to feel when I finished like I'd made a difference. I wasn't flat about the whole evening because I was so excited about the other ladies and so proud of them. But there's that thing about judging yourself, not being as kind to yourself as you are other people. And I'm probably caught up in all of that.
It was amazing, actually. It was lovely watching all of those women stand on the stage whilst fully anxious myself. It was lovely. It was just lovely.
I can't help thinking about how each one of us went onto the stage and handled our talk with so much honesty and good intent. All the messages are just ringing in my head.
I think I'm going to need some time to process this evening, but I'm just walking away with such a high and so much gratitude.
But yeah, it was amazing, and it was lovely to see all the feedback from people. A couple of people told me they really enjoyed my speech, so that was good.
Now here's to see if I can get it going into the real world.
So this is the first time that I'm going to be seeing the ladies again following the event. Really excited to bring them all back together to see how they're feeling now and what the future looks like for them. Sometimes we forget how far we've come, don't we? You know, I can't remember that person who I was. Let's just say, when was it? July, August time when it all came out. So what we've done, and you might all cringe at this point,
Oh no.
is taken your first ever video diaries and put them together and we're going to play them to you.
Oh God. Oh my God.
It was really interesting to see their own reactions. We don't sort of reflect so much about where we've come from to where we are. And just by the looks on their faces, we sort of saw in their own realisation about how much that they've grown in confidence. Well done. What were your thoughts watching that? Can you remember when you did it?
I hope it's different now, because I think that was awful. The quiver in my voice and the complete reluctance to talk about anything vaguely near vulnerable. I hope it's different now.
I think I felt more uncomfortable back then than I did on the day of the talk.
Yeah.
I can definitely reflect back on that. It definitely felt more uncomfortable doing that first vlog.
I just feel more myself now in that I was too stressed.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at it like, oh my God, that's a baby.
How would you describe, if you can remember back, how would you describe your confidence in sort of sharing your voice back then?
Going
for that.
You almost felt like you really had to form your thinking before you shared it.
And because I was trying so hard to plan it and then say it how I'd planned. I just kept stuttering over myself as well.
Yeah, so over planning what you actually say, that actually
But at the
probably
same
didn't
time, I
help.
hadn't really planned it at all, and so it was just.
Like wanting to sound correct, whatever it is that you say, and then end up like just stumbling on your words. I think one thing I like about like my intro video, it's highlighted there because I think there's a part where I think I probably wanted to say confidence, but then I've said confident, and then like there's some points where
How do we feel now? Obviously, you've talked about feeling more yourself. Any other things that come to mind?
Tone of voice has changed. It sounds a little bit more assertive, and it's kind of often dropped a little bit, and it's like a pitch it just all sounds more settled.
Yeah, it's just when I say I feel more myself, it's more I feel comfortable speaking up as myself.
Are you taking those opportunities to share your voice more?
I think the difference is I'm less worried about the perception of it.
That's the big one, yes. Because I do it before, but I overthink it and I'd worry about it.
Yeah, it would be that case if I might say something and then afterwards I'll think, oh my God, I shouldn't have said it that way, or it didn't come across assertive enough.
Now I just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just say whatever. Yeah, you're quite comfortable in saying that. Yeah.
I don't think it's changed the amount for me, just the nerves I feel beforehand.
Yeah. Okay. You feel them less in terms of the nerves. Yeah.
I probably feel a bit more credible.
Yeah.
Even though nothing has particularly changed in terms of my credibility, I just feel more credible.
You know how we discussed confidence being feeling equipped, right? So I have tended to approach situations with, how do I feel equipped here? And do I? And then yes, okay, I'm fine. I'll be perfectly okay.
I've just gotten used to talking to people a bit more about me and what I'm doing.
So you're
and
sharing
I'm
a little bit more.
Networking.
Yeah, networking, sharing.
A bit more.
That's what it's all about. It's having that confidence to, if there is somebody that you want to talk to, that you can go up and share what you want to do without, like you said, worrying around the perception of somebody else or what you're going to say or how you're going to say it, etc.
I don't think I would have like messaged the entire company about being part of this interview. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have. I think I would have just gone directly to the few people that maybe work closely with, and then maybe a couple of people, and that's it. But yeah.
So I had a lot of people who came back and were like, we've never, perceived you in that sort of way. We've never thought, you don't articulate yourself well. In actual fact, it's the opposite. So I've found that quite reassuring. And it's also like a really good example of where you make stuff up in your head about narratives. Other women particularly come up to me and sort of ask that advice and ask for some of my time to go through my journey, etc. Nice. That's a form of feedback in the sense that the impact you're having, encouraging other women to think about how they're using their voice and how they can amplify it more.
Yeah. With the high school girls, the role modelling. Yeah. So I even told them, just by being part of this interview, go back to your classes, say what you've done, because you might not understand, you are a role model for other people. The work that we've been doing with the students here at Woodhay in terms of understanding sort of their perception of the value of their voice and sort of views of computer science in terms of from an education perspective and actually what that can lead to in terms of from a career. Do you think they understand the commercial world out there around what the opportunities could be if they took?
No, not necessarily, but we do a lot about that. We went out, we've been on lots of trips, girls only trips as well. We've just run Cyber First competition for the girls in year 8. We do try and highlight everything like that, showing them the opportunities. We have slides every lesson about kind of careers, successful computer scientists, Ada Lovelace and lots of names, as many girls as boys, and now we're on to careers. So the slides today were on about cybersecurity analysts.
I used to work over in Wardle, and I remember one lunchtime, a group of girls were sat there and I'm wandering around and talking to them, and one of the girls says to me, she said, "Sir, there was somebody like me on TV last night." And I was like, "What are you on about?" She went, "Like me." I don't see black people on TV. Like, I want to be like her. And it was just, you know, when like the penny drops that you're like, you need to see people like you to see that you believe it.
One of my team who's just kind of moved sideways within the team, and she was talking about, she's kind of moved technical discipline, and she was talking about how she felt about not keeping up with things and not knowing things and stuff. And I cut out a paragraph from my speech and I stuck it in a Teams chat to her. I said, I talked a bit about feeling like that. This is what I found. Her reaction, oh my God, I'm so glad somebody else feels this stuff. Yeah, right. So I think just being a bit more in touch with kind of talking about the vulnerable stuff that I've been through, I think, and a bit more willing to share it, I think it helps a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's that vulnerability, it's the power of vulnerability. And I think it's really scary, but by doing so, you're helping so many more people, because I think if we don't, we all sit there and think, oh, I'm the only one that's going through this and I'm the only one that's feeling this. But actually when people start to share and you actually think, God, thank God I'm not alone.
You do have to think about how you are coming across, because how you come across can limit you.
Yeah. What's your perception of the value of your voice as you probably progress through your career into where you are now?
I'm naturally quite a quiet person, and when I was younger I never saw the example of a quiet leader being successful. Like, it was always the louder voices in the room were the ones that were heard and taken seriously. So I've always kind of built that into maybe some of my biases, or thinking that I had to be this very loud person to succeed. But as I've grown with bigger companies, more diverse companies like Habu, I've seen the real power and value of different voices being heard and celebrated. And also being given the opportunity to have that voice in the room and it being a safe place.
Have you always had that experience though? So if we go right back to the start of your career, have you always had that opportunity to speak out?
No. I've been very lucky. Obviously, I've got a relatively privileged background, and that the opportunities have been afforded to me. But there have been times when you've been in rooms maybe as the only female, the young female being asked, can you take the notes because it's default, unfortunately, or can you grab some tea? Like, and this was like 10 years ago, and you're like, oh, looking back, you're like, I would be mortified if someone said that in front of me with another member of the team.
Why is that still happening? I know we sort of say 10 years ago, but you know, there is still instances that it's happening where women are spoken over, you know, opinions aren't sort of listened to, you know, when we do speak out, we might be judged or perceived in a certain way. Do you have any ideas of why that's still the case?
Maybe people still aren't as educated and on how best they can be an ally for women, but also maybe the processes and systems are still not mature enough, or like we're not building those environments and changing those processes to afford that.
Yeah, the real sort of problem around women in tech events being a safe space for women, but talking to the people that don't necessarily need to be educated around the barriers and challenges that women face. And, you know, we need to actually bring more allies into those conversations for them to understand, because as I was saying, I don't think it's done with any malice or any intention. It's a lack of awareness perspective, really. Yeah. I'm going to give you a different coloured Post-it note to write a piece of feedback or something that you've noticed about each individual. So have a read of them and then pick out one thing that like really resonates with you, and maybe one thing that has taken you a little bit back about what was shared. So we're going to just talk about what opportunities it could lead to.
Mentoring?
Yeah.
I want to do more public speaking. I mean, I did two technically already. I would like to do more women in tech stuff, but eventually I get to just do actual technical stuff too, conferences and stuff.
With the number of people I've talked to about what I've done and the reactions they've had, I think there's a real place for something like this inside my organisation.
Yep.
I think we could do something really interesting internally to give other people in the organisation a similar opportunity, because I think there's a lot of people crying out for it.
Totally agree. I had something very similar. So after my talk, there were a lot of conversations with the women who work in my company. And now I am leading an initiative for increased visibility for women in AI conversation and in general tech conversations in my company. And the Women in Tech group is active again, which is lovely for me, really, because I didn't know we had one. so it's very possible.
Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah. That's already like, say, 2 companies, and how many women that can actually help.
I know Lindsay, we've had the conversation. Even though we've worked in tech for such a long time, we felt at some point not technical.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I was at the Empower conference in September, and I was speaking to some other women, and they were saying the same thing. And I was like, that's crazy to me that you work in tech as women, but we don't feel technical. There is opportunity to demonstrate the different areas of tech, using your voice to promote those areas and your expertise, like the AI, would hopefully encourage more women to either get into those spaces or to talk up about them as well.
I've got some stories that might be useful towards certain causes, and I'm just trying to decide whether they can be useful and in what context they can be useful to achieve the goals that I would like to achieve. Yeah. So I think there's the not technical thing and the normalising not technical, but technical, and that kind of links into real role models and stuff. Yeah. And can I do anything for the people coming up behind me to kind of make them aware that it is possible to achieve the kind of things I've achieved without a really technical background. The workplace women's issues and the women in tech drain, I felt like I've had to show real grit and resilience to stay doing what I'm doing. And I've got some stories in there about how there are some challenges that come from being a woman that will result in us losing women. Because you go to a women in tech conference to talk about women's issues, well, preaching to the choir.
Exactly, yeah.
How do you find the audience that actually helps you affect change?
How do you make sure the right people are listening?
Because they don't go.
They don't go.
They don't go.
Because they don't know there's an issue to find out about.
We've had a really good conversation. I'm really, really excited to see what you all do going forward, whatever that means to you. Thank you all for trusting me on this amazing journey, trusting an idea, a vision that's now a massive reality, and I'm very, very excited to see it all come together. Yay! That's a wrap. That has brought us to the end of an incredible, insightful 4-month journey. I didn't realise how much would actually come out of it. What happens when, where we can interject, and what can we support more girls and women in terms of finding the value of their voices. Listening to the feedback today from the women who've been on the programme, realising the difference not only has it made in terms of their professional life, but also their personal life, and what they want to now go on and do, and not only public speak, but to support other women with their stories, with their expertise, in terms of getting them to understand and share their voice more. Even though it's concluding the end of the documentary, this is just the start of them understanding the value of their voices.